Yo, coming to you live from World Championship in San Jose. Welcome to the Living Legends podcast.
I thought it was hot. I thought it was hot this weekend. It was like 21. I was like, bloody hell, this is so hot, Jim, because Jim was in the UK as well. I'm like, this is so hot, and he was like, no, it's not.
Yeah, well, Jim
It's
is
not.
Jim's from the south, so he not only it gets like 80, 90 degrees there, but it's also like humid as hell. It's like it's like a swamp, man. He's like from like Bayou.
Bayou.
He is. He like
Volcanic
he does
Island.
he does like Volcanic Island. No, he's from like the swamp, man. He knows how to like make a crawdad fry and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was saying to me, obviously we can keep this in if we're recording, that he does a crawfish boil.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
year.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you should come at some point." And I was like, "Yeah, it needs to be done." A crawfish boil. It's like you boil a load of crawfish, and then apparently it's like an American thing where you all just sit around a table and just have drinks, and then just pick the crawfish apart and eat it. That just sounds great.
It is a regional American thing. It's a very southern thing. Like you don't do that here in like the Pacific Northwest. You go, get a coffee from Jim and Patty's because Starbucks is too mainstream.
Yeah.
Jim and Patty's is very good though.
Oregon's like Portland, and that's just like it's just like proper hipster though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, but that's what I mean. America's like, it's just amazing. It's just so massive. That's probably why a lot of people don't ever leave, is because you can do whatever you want in the US. Pretty much, you can go to all Northern America, Canada as well. You can just do anything you want. Essentially, the climate's changed from one side to the other, so it's it's pretty crazy. But welcome back to the Living Legends podcast. I'm your host for today. My name's Az from Goarin Gaming, and joined as always by my two favourite folks in flesh and blood, Bill and Kel. How is it going, friends?
It's good. I'm doing good. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm doing pretty okay today. It's
Fantastic.
a little bit hot, as we were kind of mentioning just before. Both where I am and where Kel is. Apparently, we have just about the same temperature, and it's about 32, 33 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 90, I think you said, or 30 Celsius. Other one Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it is.
Fahrenheit.
According to my phone, it is 91 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Just a quick one on the temperature measurements. So, Bill, do you use degrees as well? Degrees C.
Yes.
That's what the UK uses.
Yeah, we use Celsius over here in Canada.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we use as well. Like degrees C is what I sort of know it as. And then Kel's like, "Oh, it's 90." I'm like, "It can't be 90 because that's well hot."
that's like boiling water.
That's like boiling water. But Fahrenheit in degrees, yeah. But yeah, we're just speaking about the weather because Jim was in the UK this weekend, which we'll get onto in a bit. But I was just like, "Jim, it's so hot," and he was just like, "Nah, it's not, mate. It's not hot at all."
Dude, it's we could tie this back into Flesh and Blood too. When I was at the last Vegas event, dude, it was so hot in Vegas. Just walking from our hotel to the venue, it wasn't like a block or two away. It was not very far at all. But like, I felt like I was like roasting in an oven, like the heat just radiating off of the pavement, and it was awful. I'm just dying there, and I was like, I don't think I did coverage at that event. I don't think they had coverage at all at that one.
Oh, maybe not. No.
But one of the ones I just had to like. I was just carrying my blazer around because it was like so hot. Like
Oh, it's a desert, isn't it? It's like proper arid heat almost. Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm still yet to go. My uncle lives there. I need to visit him at some stage. But yeah, it's ridiculously hot. But
pretty sure. Just as another Vegas story for the sample size. When I was in Vegas for the Magic Fest, Magic Con, whatever it was, back in 2019, I'm pretty sure it hit 115 Fahrenheit, which is about 46 Celsius.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like uninhabitable.
Yeah.
Like Death Valley temperatures, that is. Wow.
And with Vegas, like there's so much blacktop and it's just pure sun all the time. So the ground actually like stores a bunch of the heat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, it's still like probably mid 90s. It is still
Wow.
like hot out and the sun has been down for hours.
Yeah. My plan in Vegas is always just to be like from air conditioner to air conditioner, right? You're like
Yeah.
minimize outside time at, minimize it as the most you can.
Especially at peak times as well. The concrete just turns into bloody Sebastian Shaw from X-Men, just absorbs the energy that's being
Yeah.
projected onto it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
relevant
Yeah.
for folks here in the US because US Nats for Flesh and Blood is going to be in Vegas again. So
It is. Yeah.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
announced recently, wasn't it? So
Be prepared. Bring
be
water.
prepared. Bring lots
I
of water.
bought a lot of overpriced water. Like I bought so many like smart waters just because I just have them in my backpack at all times just in case.
You need them though, don't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Smart water has added electrolytes apparently. I don't even know what that means, but according to Flesh and Blood, you should drink water, gain hydration, go again. But I've just disappeared. Never mind.
Drink water, disappear from existence.
Disappear from existence.
Go again.
Go again. Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of go again, yeah, my channel did some cool stuff this weekend, which we can go into because the general sort of topic that I thought we could talk about would be streaming and casting and stuff because I did a lot of that this weekend. But before we roll into that, did anybody else do anything at all of interest?
I guess I did. It's not a super interesting story, unfortunately. I played in my local RTN because Grant, who's our other local judge, I guess it's myself, Grant, and Kaylee are sort of the 3 judges. Grant is a much better judge than I am, but he also just always wants to play in the events. So I'm just like, hey, I'll get the judge support, whatever. Yeah. But this one, he was pretty adamant about judging. I think it's because he wants to go for his L2, so he needed like just more events and higher level events under his belt. So I decided to play. I was going to play Briar to be part of the contingent that was helping her get Living Legended, but I ended up being just too lazy and ended up just playing the dash list that I played against Az in the last Azalea Gauntlet stream. And like hard 0-2. Just lost my first 2 games and it wasn't particularly close just because I'm not super familiar with Dash. And then I just dropped and played Yu-Gi-Oh! Against Elliot for the rest of the tournament.
Nice.
So,
well, this is a good time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we can speak a little bit more about Briar in a bit because obviously she got something recently, which was she. Side tangent straight away. Was she Living Legended yet? Because I've heard
we don't know. It's currently Schrodinger's Briar. She's simultaneously Living Legend and not Living Legend at the same time.
Yeah.
So apparently I just checked. Apparently it just got updated and she's at 998.
Yep, that's what people were saying, but then other people were like, "Well, she did this one European event that hasn't been added yet, and no one knows." Like,
yeah, there's a Briar win stored somewhere in like a warehouse, and they're just not getting it out.
Somebody's just been keeping it quiet just in case.
Just because they want their Rosetta to last a little bit longer.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't really done a ton of stuff for like in regards to Flesh and Blood this weekend. I'll be honest, I've been playing a devilish amount of Diablo 4, like a lot.
True. Yeah.
Like a lot. And then a lot of it has been with my partner Robin, which is fantastic. We played Diablo 3 couch co-op. You can play Diablo 4 Diablo 4 couch co-op, and it's a ton of fun. It works, and we've just been having a blast, just kind of rolling around and killing a bunch of demons and other things. For card games, I just finished up my Grand Archive spoiler video, and I have been thinking about my next and working on my next Flesh and Blood video, but I haven't done it yet.
Nice.
It is a really.
Yeah, she posted a little teaser, didn't you? On Facebook, I think I saw. But
no one has guessed it yet. Basically, the teaser, for those of you who don't know, I posted an image of Savage Beatdown and a little teaser like that. I'm working on my newest Flesh and Blood video. It requires a lot more research than normal, and I was wondering if anyone could guess the topic just off of the Savage Beatdown, and no one has guessed it yet. So I think this is going to be a really interesting video because it seems like not a lot of folks know about it. I'm not going to spoil it now. It's not going to come out by the time this video comes out because we're actually recording LLP pretty late this week. But yeah, it'll probably be out in a couple days after this, and I think it'll be fun. I don't think anyone's ever made a video like this for Flesh and Blood, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. So
fantastic.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned for that then. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my week was pretty eventful. And as the sort of precipice for this video really, and just going through the experiences and talking about sort of each one really. So first of all, I met with Jim from FAB TCG Cards. He was in the UK for work. And it just so happened to be that there was an RTN going on that weekend, and I was like, I'm gonna go to one of them. I was gonna go to the Oxford one, which is sort of closer to me. But I was like, if Jim's in the area, I'll go to the one in London instead. And it was awesome. Yeah, we both played Azalea. We were the only two Azaleas there.
Nice.
So unlike the meta reports, it says, "Oh, there was two Azaleas at this event. That was me and Jim." The cult founders were there repping Azalea.
Nice.
But yeah, it was as I should be. Yeah. And as of today, as well, actually, as of recording this video, for obviously Living Legends, the Azalea Cult 18 has just been released, which is basically like a vlog / RTN breakdown of our time over the weekend. So it's a completely different Azalea Cult video than normal. It's not just sat in front of a camera and talking. It's a bit of us in the shop, bit of us in the hotel room and chatting to the camera. And one of the cool things that was part of this, I'm not going to go into it too much because obviously it's on Go Again Gaming, but one of the main things which ties into Living Legends podcast is that someone was repping a Red Zone Rogue playmat in the shop.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that was really
so. Yeah, so obviously I sent that video to this chat during the weekend, so that does appear on the video. So you guys obviously have seen it already.
Shout out to the person who is rocking the mat. If you watch the podcast,
hell yeah.
He does listen to the podcast as well.
Nice. Only a couple people have ordered mats from me from the UK. Anytime international shipping pops up, it's pretty obvious because instead of the mat being like $35 or whatever, like. It's like 40 or 50 because of the shipping. So it's like, So.
Yeah, international mats are always a little bit harder to purchase. But yeah, he was playing Azuri, and
Nice.
he got into the game. He got into the game with Azuri, so you could have been the reason why he started playing in the first place, which I thought was a nice and profound little tale, considering that he was there, and obviously we do this every week with each other and stuff. So it was interesting to have that dynamic. I did smash him though. I did beat him.
Oh no! Keep at it, man. You'll get there.
But there was a bit of a high roll involved. The first game, so I'll go through the games that I played. I only played 4 games before I dropped because me and Jim were hungry. And I couldn't have gone any further based on what happened. So the first game I played against Lexi, and it was on stream actually. So it was on Push the Point VODs. So Push the Point now have a streamer person in their team that streams a lot of stuff around the UK. So they're doing really well now, which is nice. And I was on that. So the first game ever that I played in an RTN event was on stream against Alexi.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a Voltaire Lexi; it was a Death Dealer Ice Lexi. So I wasn't expecting that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I look back at the stream and look back at the game, and I think I was absolutely rinsing it. Like for the first couple of turns, absolutely rinsing it, and it all fell apart when I started forgetting tunic triggers.
Oh no!
2 in a row. I forgot. Because I was just so into what I was doing, And then as soon as it started hitting the sort of mid to late game, when they were getting their ice cards and their Channel Lake Frisians and stuff out, I really needed those resources off those tunics, and I just didn't get them because I forgot.
Yeah.
I think one of the turns I could have got back into it would have been when my tunic was on 3, but I didn't tick it up, so it wasn't. So yeah, I think I'm going to do like a breakdown of that game and what I should have or could have done instead. Push to point have allowed me to do that, obviously. So I'm probably going to do that at some point on my channel. We'll see. But yeah, first game ever, and it was on stream. So it's interesting as well, like the nerves of and this is a little topic offshoot of this, and you know, being on camera, you know, for your first game of the day. I hadn't had breakfast that day either, so I was, you know, a little bit shaky like this. I've only had a black coffee, that was it. But yeah, like being on stream and stuff, it's quite nerve wracking. You know, even though you're a content creator, your first game of the day, you're on stream, people are watching. You know, people are watching, and it's just like, oh, okay, you do make errors, and that's what happened. I made a few errors on the tunics, but yeah it's stressful.
I've seen multiple ways that people deal with that. So one is that it can be very stressful, and it can like get to you can kind of get in your own head. But I really liked Ian's approach to it, Ian Kenderdine, because at Pro Tour 1, he was competing, and I was like, dude, I'll get you on a feature match. And so we got Ian on a feature match, and he was like hamming it up. He was really like playing to the camera. He was playing it might have been Levia, and he would like, you know, when he's doing like the dice rolls or any of like the discards, he would always do like the whole like pick a card, any card kind of thing, and like, you know, mug at the camera, like, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So
just play it up, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you like, you know, might as well, but you have to be comfortable enough to do that, you know. And Ian is I do believe he has like some background in theater and performance and stuff, so it's like you know, makes sense that he was doing that, and everyone was like, oh yeah, I loved the Levia player and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's epic. Love it. Of course he would do that though, wouldn't he? He loves it. He loves being in the limelight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Go on, Ian. I know you're listening to this. But yeah, that was cool. So yeah, first game I did eventually lose. Although I did have the gas for the first half of the game, and then just all fell apart from there. Started drawing into their ice cards and shut me down towards the end. Then the second game was against an Arachne, who I won against. Again, I'll go into this on the Go Again gaming video, but I might as well just do it here as well. So I basically took 2 Eradicates to the face. Which were both buffed by 3 +3 attack, plus a Mask of Perdition trigger as well. So I actually milled about 16 to 20 cards in that game.
Wow.
but the Arachne just wasn't doing that much damage. So I just thought, as long as I can just continuously push more damage, they're just going to have to eventually just give me their hand and, you know, just not take any turns and stuff. So just raced them in the end.
Yeah, and, that's unfortunate. That's one of the reasons why Arachne's not as good as other, you know, traditionally good fatigue decks. They just don't have the onboard, you know, like defensive capabilities, right?
No. Yeah, they can run all the generic stuff, but yeah, it's just not. It's just, to be fair though, that the Arachne that me and Jim both played in, me and Jim both won against him. He was more trying to leverage the silver mechanics with like stuff like Payday.
Payday.
You know, those sorts of cards. But again, just won the race. Similar to Azuri as well. It was a race. I was basically thinking in my head that they're going to attack with a stealth card, and then the attack that they cheat in is going to be a 6 power attack. That's the main sort of law of average. I'm probably going to drop a card from Shakedown or CNC, destroy my arsenal. But I was trying to play around that scenario, and that worked out as well. I did get a bit of a high roll where they shook me down essentially. I had three red buffs in my hand and a red arrow, and they took the red arrow, so I had no arrows in hand after that. My follow-up turn, But then I did have a card in Arsenal, so I just literally played all of the buffs out, so +9 on the next arrow, and then Skullbone cross-wrap the card in my Arsenal. It wasn't an arrow. Got rid of it to the bottom. Activated Azalea blindly. There was red infecting shot off the top.
Bruh.
Tunic trigger was active, so just fired it off for 14 dominate with 2 on hits, 3 blood rots or something like that.
Bruh.
And that was
Sounds
just
a lot like what happens in our games.
Oh yeah, no, I've been there. I've been there
yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
But that was what won me the game. It was an extremely massive high roll, and I took the risk because obviously you have to take the risk. You have to think, right, okay, yes, this is going to hit me. It's either going to be a stealthed in CNC or a shakedown or a surgical, what have you. But it was quite a red line deck. I don't precisely know the list, but I asked Sam, and there was no surgicals in there. It was just mainly red line. So maybe was there someone who did like a red line Azuri list? Or
yeah,
something?
yeah. One of the first like winning ones was a red line Uzuri.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was based on that. But yeah. So I won against that eventually. So I was 2-1 at this point. So if I carried on winning, I would still have a chance of going on. So then I faced Dory in my last game, and that was I think they were 2-1 as well. Can tell that they obviously they had quite a bit of experience on the deck, and it was extremely close. Went down to 2-2 life totals, and it was literally just a race to who could dominate first, and they managed to get Iron Song Determination out on me, which gives their Dawnblade dominate, and I lost.
Yeah.
That's basically what it came down to: was who can dominate first for the lethal, because all of our armor was gone. We were both naked, But yeah, that was a brief breakdown. It was obviously I went 2-2, and then I was just like, oh, I'll drop now, and then just me and Jim just went and had Pizza Express today. So yeah, it was good. But yeah, the full video's on Go Again Gaming. As you're seeing this, it will be on there. You can see like the store, and that it's a huge game store. You like go down some stairs, and it's like massive, and loads of stuff in there. And we had about 37 players for the RTN, so it's quite packed.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot of good London players were there and that. So happy with what I did. Although I could have played better on that streamed game, but still good for my first RTN after 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah, great fun.
I've never played in one, so
Yeah, it's definitely good fun. But yeah, it's definitely good players. The RTNs as well, obviously. But yeah, that was my well, no, that wasn't my week. I tell a lie. There was another big thing as well, which is probably the main crux of today's conversation. That's streaming and streamed events. Because over the last year or so, a lot of streams have popped up and coverage has popped up on not only by people like Channel Fireball and Tournament Center and Star City Games and stuff, but content creators as well have started to pick up streaming. So what do we think that's going to lead to? Because I think a lot of people are leaning on streaming too heavily. That they're not actually doing content anymore. They're just doing streaming to a certain degree. I feel like as well that streaming is a great thing. Because obviously you get to engage with viewers and stuff, but you also get a lot of people that don't engage with you normally. They're just watching the competitive stuff.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because I know some of these places. So, like for example, I'm pretty sure like MinMax, they're one of the bigger organizations that do Flesh and Blood streaming these days. They usually get Flake and DM Armada to do their streams, and I'm like, I don't want to speak for anyone, but I'm pretty sure like they're actually paying them to do that. Whereas a lot of the other ones like are not and at some point the goodwill is going to run out and all the streams are just going to go away because it's a lot of work and a lot of effort, and these people who are doing it for free, I'm not telling you not to do it for free, but what I am telling you is that hey, maybe you should ask to get paid. So you or at least compensated for your efforts. I've had like some folks approach me for various things, but they just wanted me to like do it for fun, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. Like content creation is my full-time job, and I'm not gonna stream 11 hours like just for fun, like
Yeah.
for something that I wasn't gonna do anyway. So I'd have to like, make time for this. It's different if you're like, really excited about it and it's something that you're looking forward to and you're doing. Then if someone approaches you for this thing as like a job, but then they're not going to pay you for
But
it.
it's not. Yeah, that was one of the whole conversations that because obviously Man Sant does it quite a lot now, doesn't he? I think that's what he originally did for free without maybe knowing it or what have you. There was a big conversation about it before, wasn't there?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna get super into it because I don't want to. I don't know what I can say, what I can't say. But
Yeah.
I commented like I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna be doing Flesh and Blood comment coverage for a while, and he's like, oh, if he like messaged me. Mansant's a really nice guy, and he messaged me. And
yeah.
he's like, hey, if you're coming to the event, do you want to hop in to the stream, and I could pay you. And the number he gave me was like, I didn't say it was insulting, but it was it was insulting. It's like not even the price of like a sixth of a plane ticket, basically, right? It's like that much, and I'm like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't worry about it. Um,
But that's the thing. It's just like if the coverage is going to become reliant on these smaller streamers and smaller people that are, willing to do it, but not getting paid for it in the same way that sort of Flake and DM Armada might be. It's it's how long does it last? That's the thing.
I don't know what MinMax is doing for them, but um, how do I put this? I know Mansant he's getting outside sponsors, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool that he's getting outside sponsors to make it worthwhile, but honestly, like it's such a tricky topic. My opinion is that the tournament organizers should be paying them to do it. But a lot of them don't want to because it's not profitable for them. So I understand, both sides of it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, if you want high quality content, you should pay for it. And a lot of the TOs don't want to, which is understandable, like I said, because they can't afford it and they don't see, a lot of them don't see the benefit from it. Even if it's not a monetary benefit, I think there's a lot of benefits from it. But
yeah, there also just kind of seems to be, I don't know how much of a misconception there is currently, but I know that the history of streaming, I think it still is kept on to this day, but streaming is not as easy as it looks. It is not just putting on a camera and just doing whatever it is you're planning on doing. Like it's an engaging thing that you have to actually put like energy into for it to be decent and like watchable, entertaining.
Yes.
So yeah, treating it as though it's a free service is definitely not the correct way to go, because it's not just something that anybody can pick up and be good at. I know that there's a lot of like second-hand streamer starter kits that you can buy off of eBay and Kijiji of people, being like, oh, I'm just going to become a streamer, and then it doesn't happen. So it's like it takes a certain type of person with a certain type of style to actually stream properly. And just putting all of that onus on people who, video content is much different than streaming content. It is not a one-to-one sort of thing. So you could be fantastic at making videos and an awful streamer.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting that you say that, because yesterday I actually recorded a podcast for the first time with Push the Point. So Push the Point are another UK-based channel, which we both started around about the same sort of time. And me and Hamish had about a 30-minute conversation about streaming, because obviously they had done the event as well. They did the Battle Hardened event, which we'll get into in a moment, the whole project that was involved here. They did day one, I did day two, which was a PTI event. So my event that I covered was more go again gaming style. There wasn't as much at stake. It was more casual and laid back, whereas theirs was the proper Battle Hardened event, and that was one thing that Hamish brought up as well, was the fact that you can't. So some people can't do both. They've just literally got someone into their team now that is just the streaming person. He knows all the tech, knows all the stuff, all the setups, got all the gear, but they don't make videos. They just set up and stream the thing. You know, that's why they've got a separate channel now called Push the Point VODs, which is all about just streaming events in the UK just for coverage purposes. Whereas Push the Point is their podcast, it's their their faces as such. There is no face with a stream unless you get someone to commentate and cast over it. It's just a stream, isn't it? So
yeah,
I know what you mean when you say you can't particularly do both at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, like personality-wise, it's also difficult to do that too. They're different. Though the way I approach my videos, it's not that different because a lot of the times I'm just like turn on camera, go, and then I'll edit out the bad parts. But like for stream, similar thing. Start stream and go. And I know Az can now attest to this because he has now streamed an 11-hour, commentary event. But it can be very, very exhausting, right? When you're basically working like nonstop for 8 to 10 hours. And it's like not easy. Like the way I'd like to describe it is like it's not physically demanding in a way that like you're not like lifting heavy objects, right? But it is like mentally exhausting.
It is, yeah.
And like, I mean that's exactly what it is. I mean, imagine just staring at a screen for like 8 to 10 hours, right? And then you're trying to see the glimmer of art on cards, so you know what they're gonna be playing, or they have in their hand, or they just played. And Flesh and Blood is a unique situation where you have multiple cards that have different effects, but they have the exact same art, right? So you have red, yellow, and blue pitch cards, and someone plays a yellow card, and you're like, oh, is this the yellow version, or is it the blue version, or is it the red version kind of thing?
Yeah.
And, all of that is just kind of like baked into it.
You're constantly on. You really, especially when you're commentating, you kind of just can't take time off because, otherwise that's dead air, and dead air is bad. So
and I know from working with like industry professionals. I've done coverage with Brian Gottlieb. I've done coverage with Tan and Grace, and these guys, they're no spring chickens. And so like, it's like, you got to be on all the time. Someone's got to be talking. And then if someone is not talking, the other person's usually doing something else too. They're not just kind of like sitting there. Sometimes they're sitting there, but they're also paying attention. But sometimes they're like frantically looking on their phone to try to see what the card is because both casters forgot because someone played a weird card that like, and especially if it's like sealed or something like that. If you're doing like a limited event, you're like, oh crap, what's that random common? Like we kind of know what it does, but we want to make sure exactly what it does. So like one person's like trying to find the card and the thing, and like that has happened like a few times, right? Or like this can happen in Flesh and Blood, where the matchup, it's like so for example, it's like Briar versus Viserai, right? And this is like back before like not a lot of people played Viserai, and it was like everyone knows Briar because Briar was like the meta deck, but then like not a lot of people knew all the Viserai cards, and I was like, I'm like, Viserai is one of my favorite heroes. I can do the Viserai coverage, and so I did the Viserai coverage. And the same thing happened for was it the Pro Tour when I think it was the Pro Tour where Kano kind of popped off, and like we're like get Steven into the booth, Steven Diamamata. I'm like, it's his like favorite hero. Like get him in the booth because he's gonna love to talk about Kano. Not only does he know it, but he's really passionate about it. So toss him in for all the Kano matches, and he's gonna do like a banger job. And same for like when Lexi was up on board. I'm like, no, put me in, coach. I wanna do the Lexi coverage. And then everyone dreaded the Oldham versus Oldham coverage, but we don't talk about it. All right, we're not gonna talk about that.
But see that come up on the screen, and you're like, "Cut the stream,
please." We're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, and like for the show that we put on that we did for like Channel Fireball and stuff is much different too than like remote streaming because we're there in person, but also like when we're not doing coverage, most of the time you're either on the sidelines pulling up the images, like pulling up like the card images. That was all done manually. And then sometimes, like for example, Tan and Grace would be like doing interviews with like the players in between the matches, or like one thing that I did more than a few times was like go over the list of all of the pro players and then pick out names that I thought would be fun matches. I'm like, these are the players that the community knows and that would make for really good, entertaining matches. And then I was like, and these are the heroes that are considered to be like the dark horse heroes, the underdog heroes. These are the heroes. If they're doing good, put them on camera. No one wants to watch another like Oldham Prism game. Like if someone's doing good with like Kano or something, put them on. So like I did that more than a couple times where I was just like kind of sitting with the other guys in the tech area and just being like, we'll do these. But
and that's a good thing about this stream, which we'll talk about in more sort of little segmented bits in a moment. But they managed to get on a lot of diverse matchups.
That's good.
It wasn't just the same old thing that me and Pascal had to commentate over. It was diverse matchups. Some of them I didn't have a clue what was going on, but you know, but we'll get to that.
If coverage and casting is something that you want to do and want to keep doing, a good skill that you'll learn is just how to bullshit. Like seriously, if you're good, if you're good at just talking and bullshitting, if you are the play-by-play, it doesn't matter if you don't know what they are exactly. You can still just talk about what's going on, and then ask your pro player who's next to you in the booth the questions and set them up to look smart.
And that's precisely what we were sort of doing as well, because Pascal basically had all control of flashing up cards, because there's this amazing piece of software which was done by Raul from iHankJr. Sorry if I butchered your name there. So she does the Purple Fox software, which you might have used when you were doing the casting, perhaps. But he was basically controlling it remotely because it's all based off of a web browser in OBS. So if Pascal changes the image on the web browser, that's going to show up on my stream because my stream is capturing the web browser, which is just, you know, he can access that from anywhere. So he changes the cards and it pops up on my stream, which is great. So he was doing that in real time, which was brilliant. So couldn't have done it without him. But yeah, so this stream was part of the Battle Hardened event in Metropole Ruhr, Germany. And this was Heiner's idea. So we met Heiner at Worlds. We opened the Arcane box with him.
He's the White Rabbit guy.
That's it, yeah. So White Rabbit Community Game Store in Germany were the hosts for this Battle Hardened weekend. And Heiner had an idea of basically having all of the tools on site to be able to provide a stream which could then be distributed to different channels and different people casting it in their own native languages, which is the first forever, for Flesh and Blood ever. So I think it was a fantastic part. I was a fantastic, sort of honoured to be part of it. It was awesome to do the English stream of the PTI event. At least Push to Point were doing the first day, I was doing the second day, and then obviously we had like Flesh and Blood Italia, Arcbound Geek, we had iHankJr, we had loads of different Pummel. I think they're called Pummel Wanko or something. a Polish channel. Pummel Vanko, maybe that's probably how you pronounce it instead.
Pummel Wanko.
Pummel Wanko.
Apologize to the Polish viewers.
Yeah, so sorry. But yeah, so it was brilliant. So there was one central hub that was getting distributed out to all of the remote teams to do their own sort of native language commentating on, and it was great. And obviously, each stream has obviously their own casting team, and for me it was just me and Pascal, who's a good friend of mine from Switzerland, and he actually knew some German, so he actually spat out some German language during the stream, which I think was quite cool. But yeah, it was great. So we did the PTI event, and we covered quite a few matches on the PTI event, and it wasn't cash prizes. It was just like booster packs. So you can tell that the scale of it was a lot more toned down. You know, people were probably messing around with different types of decks. There wasn't cash prizes on the line like there was for the Battle Hardened. So yeah, a lot of people were just doing it for fun. You could tell that because when you saw people sat down, because the face cameras were on and everything, you could see that they were having a fun time. They were laughing, they were joking, they were just having a fun time, which I thought was perfect for the Go Again gaming stream at least, because we're all about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really, really good fun. And just one point I want to make is that remote streaming is a lot easier than having to do all the stuff yourself, because you're just being given a YouTube feed, which already has all the overlays on it, all the cameras on there. You can edit the overlays as well if you wanted to, because I had a few sort of sponsored stuff on there, like dotted on there and that. I made adverts and stuff and did my own OBS stuff for that. But they provide everything to you. They provide you with the cameras, the board state, the meta breakdowns in between the games. You can see how many heroes there are and what the represented heroes are and stuff. So we had all the information given to us just to do our own thing over the top of, which was just made everything a lot easier. So remote streaming is actually very easy because you're given everything. All you need is OBS, and then you're just ready to go. Essentially, your microphone and whatever. A Discord call like this is what me and Pascal were in. We were just in a Discord call for 13 hours for the whole day.
That's crazy, man. That's a lot.
It was long, yeah. So I woke up at 8 a.m. after getting very pissed the night before with Jim.
Yeah.
And I got the coach back, and I got back into my hometown of Swindon at 2:30 a.m. And then I had to get up for 8 a.m. the next day for this. So I was, I had some hair of the dog. Do you know what hair of the dog means?
Hair of the dog that bit you?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
What does it mean, Bill? Because Kel doesn't know, obviously.
Well, it's like it sobers you up, right? I'm not sure. Is it just?
That's right. No, that's true. Yeah.
Is it
you take another nip of whatever you were drinking last night, or like have a Bloody Mary for breakfast sort of deal. You get yourself re-drunk so that the hangover doesn't hurt so bad.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I mean,
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I for me, I would just be sleeping until like 1 p.m. or something. Like
Pretty
the last time I got like super drunk was I stayed up till like 3 a.m. or something. Got back, was still drunk.
I love that. Yeah.
Like drunkenly like hobbled up both flights of stairs into the bedroom, just collapsed on the bed next to Robin, and then woke up the next day at like noon or 1 or something.
Literally just passed out. Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I typically don't get hangovers. It has to be really bad for me to get a hangover. I think I have to mix, like I have to do some of the drinking no-nos for me to get a hangover. Like mix hard and light alcohols, and we used to drink. This is a way to get real drunk and have a bad day the next day. We used to drink a lot of just hard liquor poured into like juice. So you'd get like rum and then do like half rum, half just like juice, like fruit punch. It's delicious. But it's easy to get carried away, and then you also have all that sugar in you, and it's like yeah. That's what I did in college.
My foolproof plan for when I drink too much and I'm not feeling so great the next day is specifically, and I will say for anybody who's a U.S. listener, Canada A&W is a different restaurant than U.S. A&W, and it is actually good in Canada.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But I usually get a double matzo burger with onion rings and either a root beer or a chocolate shake. I devour that in about 10 minutes flat and then sleep for the remainder of the day. I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's epic. I love it.
It's the worst is like when you get so drunk and you wake up and you're still drunk. Like you're still a little drunk, and it's like, oh, this feels not great.
Oh no.
Yeah.
that's when you pass out and then you wake up in your toilet and like, how did I get here? You're still like dazed. You just try and get back to your bed. You're just like, oh no, I'll just sleep here on the bathroom floor instead.
Yeah. Anyway, so getting back on topic, I want to ask you a question. As how'd you like your first like? Well, okay. First of all, I should ask. Was this your first time like doing casting and coverage?
Oh god, yeah, my first time. Apart from streaming the occasional sort of Talishar game and talking through what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've actually done that on a live game. Yeah.
How'd you like it? Like, what are your thoughts on doing it?
Oh yeah, it was really really good. It was difficult to do some stuff because obviously I don't know the heroes and the cards. Because obviously exclusively play one hero essentially. You have to have a massive breadth of knowledge for all cards at all times, which was quite difficult. So Pascal luckily took a lot of the pressure off of me to know those things in those moments. But that's the good thing about casting. If you have got a two-man team, is that one of you plays a role and the other one is the knowledge essentially. So you can play off each other's strengths and weaknesses, which is exactly what we did naturally because we know each other for a while, so we just know what to do in that scenario. There's a few things I would have done differently. Like we didn't explain every single card that was being played because we were also trying to engage with the chat because that's just what we like doing. We like to engage with the people that are in the chat, but we weren't necessarily explaining every single card as they were being played. So it was listening back to it. There are a few things that we just didn't sort of marry up coherently with the turns. And then suddenly it was like, oh, okay, it's back to this guy's turn now, and we missed a play that was happening because we were just chatting. We were just chatting shit, basically.
Yeah.
But that's all part of the experience for my channel at least is just that natural. We're just commentating this game because we love it. It's nothing too serious, and that was married up with the fact it was a PTI event. It wasn't nothing too prestigious or what have you. So we kind of got away with it for the first time, but we would definitely make improvements next time.
Nice.
If there was a next time. But yeah, it was great fun.
I'm sure you'll have opportunities to do more if you want.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably do this again. The Project Pentecost team will probably do it again. So yeah, we'll definitely put our names forward for the English stream again for the same sort of time on the weekend, I expect. But yeah, it was really, really good, really good fun. We'll definitely do it again. And 13 hours, it just doesn't feel like you're doing it for 13 hours because you love the game. Before you know it, you're 4 hours in. You're like, bloody hell, where did that time go? Because you were just engaged with the games. And there were some sick games on this stream as well, which we'll go into briefly. I'll just touch on each one of them like I did earlier. But yeah, it was great fun.
Nice.
Very good fun.
Yeah, I mean, what you said about like not knowing all the cards and that kind of stuff, that's something that goes into like professional streaming that I don't think a lot of people realize. Is you do a lot of work before you actually go live. At least I did. I wanted to be as prepared as possible, so I'd do a lot of like research on the top decks, a lot of just memorization of cards, just looking at the cards, making sure I knew what the cards did just by the artwork. It's a lot of work that goes into it like beforehand. It's not just kind of like showing up and talking. It's showing up and talking about something that you just studied a lot for. And it just goes back into the sentiment that it's like, it's a lot of work and it can be very, very tiring. And what as said is true, at least true for me too. Like the time does pass. It's not like it crawls, but for me, the time would pass and then it would be like, 6 p.m. or something. And I'm like, I am dead. Like all the adrenaline is gone and now I just want to pass out, like go shamble on over to dinner, and then shamble back to the hotel and then pass out. And other people are like, oh, you want to go party? This is a funny thing. People are like, oh, come join our thing, come do this thing. And then, a lot of the times Steven and I are like, no, we're just gonna go back and sleep. Like
you just conked out at that point, aren't you? So
it's
completely understandable. And there were moments like that as well. We'll go over those in a moment where me and Pascal were just like, sod this. This game is garbage. There was one game in there that was just like, this is going on way too long.
Oh
now. So yeah, we'll go into it. But the first game was Phi versus Oldhim.
Okay.
So it was really interesting because Oldhim obviously won this, and he just fatigued the Phi out essentially, and he didn't really attack at all, to be honest. He was just literally just soaking up everything that Phi could do and leaking maybe 1 or 2 damage each turn, even though Phi was going extremely wide. And that's just like, bloody hell, come on. He's just blocking. It's just like, goodness sake, you're not even attacking. He's just blocking the whole time.
Yep.
And he was happy to do so.
We joked about it before, and like I joked about it to other people I did coverage with, but like I have done multiple like Oldhim v Oldhim mirrors and a lot of Oldhim stuff, and it's just like block, block, block. Oldhim swings with his hammer, block, block, block. He swings with his hammer, block, 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 block. Oh, he blocks everything. No hammer this turn. Oh, this turn he has Endless Winter or whatever. Now he's doing an attack. Like you could only say like Oldhim blocks, and then it swings with his hammer so many times and be like entertaining. It's like it's rough.
It is, yeah. It's matchup dependent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As to what ones are entertaining, which ones aren't, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like I was saying it from like the Oldhim v, like the mirror match, where it's just like he's blocking and hammer, and then the other one's gonna block and then hammer, and like it's just back and forth blocking and hammer. This is when they actually had a hammer that was like decent, and now he's just blocking with a little crappy hammer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, it's just there. It depends on what matchups you get, but there was a very key moment in the game as where Phi had this massive sort of Art of War turn that he was going to go off on, and then just none of his attacks had go again. He was like drawing his his end of chain attacks like Lava Burst and the things that don't have go again. So it just he just fell on his face after that.
Yep. Yeah, you know, I've been there as Lexi many times.
Yeah, exactly. And with Phi as well, he drew into like other things like Enlightened Strike on other Art of War turns, which is not the card you want because you have to still essentially pitch a card to that because it doesn't come in for 0 for 5. You still have to pay for it. So you just didn't see this stuff when you needed it. But Oldhim will be Oldhim, baby.
Well, not anymore, luckily.
No, thank God. But the next round was absolutely hilarious. It was ridiculous. It was Levia versus Dash.
Nice.
And Ian Kenderdine that actually popped in for this game, and he saw this game live, which was hilarious. He was loving it. Because the Levia managed to get 3 R smashes on the Dash.
Oh, nice.
So she's literally just wrecking all of her items constantly. And there was a stupid moment in the game as where Tim had basically just used all of his items. You know, his items had been smashed 3 times in a row, and then he used a Spark of Genius to go and fetch an optical molecule, and he was just cracking up because it was such a suboptimal play. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna use a Spark of Genius to go and get an optical molecule," and he was cracking up about it. Yeah,
Nice.
he's just looking through his deck, and he was just like, "Oh no, I've either boosted away my items, or they've been smashed. Oh wait, I've got this optical molecule." Comes out onto the battlefield with 5 steam counters on it.
You gonna opt? He got some.
Yeah. But me and Pascal just had no clue what was going on at this point. We was just like, he's searching. Pascal's accent just cracks me up every time. He's like, he's searching for optical monocle. And I'm just like, yeah. What has he got? What has he got? A nitro mechanoid list? And that wasn't the case. He was like, he must be using his optical monocle to try and find his hyperdrivers. But have we seen any hyperdrivers yet? No. Pascal was like, no, we haven't. It can't be. But he was using a galvanic bender. Which says when this is under a permanent, it gets +1. So we thought he must be using nitro mechanoid list, but that wasn't the case at all.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it does block for 1. It's got battle worn.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
That was Tim's logic. It was that it's a arm piece that's battle worn 1, and it looks like it's a mechanologist card rather than running iron rot or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You might as
So
well.
yeah, that was a funny game, really was. And shout out to Just Human on Twitter. So Tim, the pilot of the deck, actually does follow me on Twitter. So thanks for commenting on the post. I'm sure you watched that game back because that was hilarious.
Who ended up winning that one?
That was Levi who won that.
Okay.
The
optical monocle didn't get there?
No, I didn't get there. No, in the end, unfortunately, couldn't find precisely what he was looking for. But yeah, Ian came in the chat and hit us with some knowledge about the optical monocle and the snatch being the same.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he say?
He
said it to us before on the art, or maybe you mentioned it before.
This is some old Flesh and Blood lore. The character from Optical Monocle, or the character from Snatch, has the optical monocle underneath their arm, and then in the optical monocle art, it's the same character wearing the monocle. They stole it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd heard it before, but yeah, I thought I was interested. It was nice for him to. Pascal had never heard it before, so he was well interested. He was like, "Wow, deep lore." But yeah, that was a cool game. Next game was Briar versus Lexi.
Ooh.
So we thought this was just going to be a 15-minute game, but it actually wasn't. It was quite back and forth. But Briar whiffed 3 times on all sonatas.
Oh, nice.
Just didn't hit anything. Every single sonata was an utter whiff. No attack actions whatsoever.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those cards, isn't it? It's one of those situations that you have to realize will happen. It is a high roll. It is a piece of luck, that card.
Mm-hmm.
So as well as this as well, the Lexi player was basically trying to play the 3 of a kinds as they drew them, because they knew it was going to be a race. So they was just like, right, I need to try and get as much value out of this 3 of a kind as I can, because I'm probably never going to see it if I use it for pitch, or if I arsenal it, I need to use it now.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to save it, because Briar's just going to hit back harder. So they weren't optimally playing the 3 of a kinds because they were having to use them because it was a race, or it felt like a race. But yeah, Lexi eventually won that, so that was a cool game.
Nice.
Next one was Bolton versus Dromai. This is the one I had no idea on, because Bolton I just don't know what you're supposed to do with Bolton. Luckily, Pascal had a bit of knowledge here, so he pretty much carried this one. Still, Bolton was very, very. It was again very good back and forth between the two, and obviously the only thing that Bolton does not have as part of his equipment suite was Arcane Barrier. So the burn them all was the thing that really got the damage through at the end, which he couldn't do anything about. So you know all about that burn them all, don't you, Cal?
It's a good card. I heard a really, really super cool YouTube channel spoiled that card. I don't know who they are, but they must be really cool.
Right.
To spoil such a cool card.
Yeah.
I mean hot card, not cool card, because it's fire.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. A hot card because it's fire. There are so many puns in there. Ridiculous.
Freeze them all.
Freeze them all.
Oh God, no! Please, never print a freeze them all. That sounds.
Oh God, no.
That sounds awful.
Please, no.
Yeah. Attack with a dragon. Give them a frostbite for each attacking dragon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Elemental illusionist ice dragons. Don't give them ideas. James White already hinted at ice ninjas, because people are talking about that Flesh and Blood fighting game comparison video, and then on Twitter James White popped in and he's like, oh yeah, we and this is, I think, a lot of people know about this already, but they have a lot of influences and references to fighting games and stuff in Flesh and Blood, and James was like, maybe someday we'll print an ice ninja, a reference to Sub-Zero. So
oh yeah,
maybe we'll get an ice ninja.
God, I hope not.
That's still
Fatality.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fatality.
It sounds really annoying on like all levels. You're gonna get Kadachi'd, and you're gonna have like Kadachi mask momentum, and then also ice. Like that sounds like fun, right?
Oh God.
Kadachi for one. Kadachi for
Oh.
one. Give you 3 frostbite tokens.
Speaking of ninjas that actually exist at the moment, the next round was Fi versus Katsu, which I think was one of my favorite games actually, because they were both running the mask of momentum.
Nice.
So it just created some ridiculously intricate chains of combat where they had to just literally both block at the right time to make sure that the other one didn't draw the cards to continue the attack.
Yeah.
Which was just obviously Katsu's on hit effects as well mean that he could go and shoot a card, then do another thing, and Whelming Gustway potentially draw another card and then trigger a mask up. Well, it was ridiculous the amount of attacks, and the ninja mirror as such is really interesting to watch, especially with 2 players that know how to play it. But Fi got the win on this one, and Pascal nicknamed the player Lars Brand with Cinderclaw Richter, because he literally always seemed to have a brand of Cinderclaw at the start of his combat chain without fail.
Yeah.
Which is the one I think that's the one that makes your attacks draconic next, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns your next chain link draconic.
Yeah, and I can't remember what that synergizes with precisely, but yeah, it definitely did something. But yeah, he always started the combat chain with that, and it was just hilarious. And we saw him twice in the stream, I believe, Lars Richter. Oh no, we didn't see him twice. We saw him once, but then no, we did see him twice, I think. Don't know, I can't remember. But yeah, it was funny. Next was Bravo versus Lexi in round 6. And this Bravo was just absolutely relentless. He was just throwing huge attacks at Lexi every single turn, whether that will be choke slams, crippling crush, spinal crush. Lexi was just having to deal with like literally so much adversity from the start. But the raw power of Lexi's cards just allowed her to stay into the game, and a lot of the chat were like, "Oh well, if Lexi can just draw her powerful cards, and Bravo's literally high rolling, and still she can put up a fight. This is not fair." It's always gonna. Bravo's like high rolling these massive crushing attacks.
People still complain about Ranger even when they're losing.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. But Bravo ultimately won that one.
Oh yeah.
That's
the
same Bravo.
The overpowered Guardian beat the weak Ranger again. Oh, I wonder. Big surprise. big surprise there.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a good one to watch. But yeah, chat were getting a bit salty for that one.
I won't go into it, but man, I don't understand like the Ranger hate. Like,
yeah, I know. It's weird,
like Guardians are like so busted. 2 of them have hit Living Legend already, and people still complain about Lexi. It's like just I don't know.
I don't know. If a dominated crippling crush isn't enough for people to hate playing against Guardians, then that's fine. They can just get hit with dominated crippling crushes.
Yeah.
It's like
Be my guest.
Illusionist, that's fine. Guardians, oh, they're fine too. Rangers, no Rangers.
No,
You can't have
no
good
chance.
cards. Those are for Rune Blades. Give them back to the Rune Blades. No good cards for Rangers. Rune Blades get good cards, and Guardians and Illusionists.
Yeah, but that was fun. That was fun to see because Bravo is actually doing quite well at the moment. He's won a few RTNs as well recently.
He's the last Guardian, man. This is the last. He's the last one that hasn't hit Living Legend.
Last Guardian. Sounds like a film.
Once
Guardian.
It's a video game actually.
I thought I recognized the name.
It's a PlayStation exclusive game made by the people who did Shadows of the Colossus, Last Guardian. You have like a big dog thing that you dog dinosaur thing that you command around. But it's gonna be funny if Bravo does continue to do so well that Heat Living Legends out before they print another Guardian, and then there's just going to be no Guardians in CC because they're all so busted that they hit Living Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he got a new, obviously Bravo got a new card recently as well, didn't he? So
it's a pretty good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another sort of side tangent we can maybe speculate on. Is that will all heroes get specializations, or is it just certain ones? Do we think?
I have thoughts. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Let's just get through the rest of this then. So the next round was 5 versus Dromai.
Nice. I keep saying nice, but yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, but it was cool because it was obviously brother and sister of Volkor fighting each other. Yeah, Fi just rinsed Dromai on this one because he's just good at clearing up dragons and then consistently going face.
Yeah. The only way you lose is if you don't kill the dragons.
Yeah. But yeah, you can just control the board and still leak damage just really well against Dromai. And the quarterfinal was the one that literally just faded from memory, essentially, because it was just the longest match of the day. It was Leviah versus Dromai.
Interesting.
And yeah, it was just an absolute slogfest with Leviah just trying to pop certain attacks that then just stalled the Dromai in their tracks. And then obviously, yes, you can imagine Leviah doesn't really go wide very well, so it took ages to clear the dragons, and it was awful. And Leviah was trying to manage the dragons and blood debt as well towards the end of the game, so that was stalling it even further. The Dromai player was also taking 3 to 4 minutes each turn to decide what to do.
Nice.
So yeah, it was just one of those games that just Dromai ultimately won.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just one of those long ass games. I just don't remember really what happened because I was just like, come on, we need to get to the next game, because we knew what the next game was before this game even finished, and it was like Bravo versus Azalea was the next game, and me and Pascal were just like, come on, we know the next game's going to be this. We need to get this one done, because we were both sat in different seats for this. Pascal's a massive Bravo player, and I'm a massive Azalea player. Both the players were named Kevin as well, who are piloting these decks. So it was Kevin v Kevin in the semi-final.
Just a good old-fashioned Kevin off.
Kevin off. But yeah, it was great because obviously there was a bit of polarity in the casting booth. Pascal was rooting for Bravo, I was rooting for Azalea, and it was ridiculously wild ride with both players just literally just not giving any respect to the other player whatsoever. It was just a game of no blocks. It was like the last game was 2 hours long. We're gonna end this in 15 minutes.
Hell yeah!
That was like the sentiment or the feeling towards the game.
My kind of game.
No players were blocking. Yeah, so it was crazy, and everyone in the chat was like, PTI speed run achievement accomplished because they were playing so quickly. But yeah, it was ridiculous. So the first turn, Bravo takes an infecting shot for 11 with 2 blood rots on hit. So I think it was an infecting shot mixed with some other buffs and another lace with blood rot.
Yeah.
So it was two buffs and then so 2 buffs for 6 and then an infecting shot for 5 with 2 on blood rots on hit. And then Bravo's just like, yeah, take it. So obviously he's essentially taking 15 damage because he didn't pay for the blood rots either. And then he just came back with a crippling crush. So he just responded with his own 11, but with also hand interaction off the back of that. And then off of the back of that, Azalea responded with a yellow infecting shot. That was all that she could do after taking the damage and discarding cards. So then Bravo just literally steamrolled from there and then came in with a dominated pulverize.
Nice. Oh, I mean...
At that point, she was just dead after that. Dominated pulverize.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
It's like... In that scenario, unless the Azalea gets like pretty lucky, like... They both have like really strong dominant attacks, but Guardian also just has a freaking fridge attached to them, and Azalea has like a thin napkin. So she's just gonna get absolutely shredded.
Yeah, and that's it. That's right. I forgot as well. That's literally the yellow infecting shot came back in, and he just blocked with Tectonic and Crater Fist.
Yeah,
to just block 4, and then he just And then he obviously heaved a pulverized the turn before, and Azalea was just like, "Oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Here comes a yellow infecting," and he's just blocks with 2 pieces of equipment. Seismic surges pop, dominated pulverized for 14, which is just see you later. And that obviously gives the first attack of the Azalea -4 next turn as well because of the on hit effect. So that just pretty much makes her best arrows just 1 base attack essentially. So that's just awful. But yeah, bravo. Yeah, Pascal was happy.
But surely the really overpowered ranger cards that deal 15 damage by themselves, like Codex of Frailty, came back and won Azalea the game, right? That's what Twitter tells me. Ranger's so overpowered that all they need is Codex of Frailty to win, right? So they won, right? No, they lost to the Guardian again. Yeah,
definitely not. And then the last game was this Bravo against Dromai, and again it was a sick game. This one very, very good back and forth, but Dromai ultimately won, and both of these players we saw in the previous games as well. So they appeared a couple of times. This Dromai was actually the Dromai in the game that took about 2 hours, but they speeded this game up a little bit. I think it was quite aggressive. Bravo was trying to be quite aggressive and just go face while trying to pop the important dragons as and when they came out, similar to what Michael Feng did with Oldham. Just tried to go absolute face.
I mean, you have to. You can't waste your big attacks attacking the stupid dragons. You have to go face and then use your poppers to kill them. You're just gonna lose if you waste all of your big attacks killing the dragons.
Yeah. Another thing I did notice as well about the Bravo versus Azalea game is that I haven't seen this before. Is that Bravo was running Titan's Fist and Steel Braid Buckler as a shield.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Because Steel Braid Buckler is obviously blocks for 2 and then 1 because it's temper equipment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just having an extra 2 block on board with Bravo, what's that? You got Crown of Providence, you got Tectonic Plate, and you've got Crater Fist and Iron Rot. That's 9 block on board from equipment, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's 9. Yeah, 9.
3.
Yeah, so 2 from the Buckler, 2 from Crown, 2 from
That's
Tectonic.
11. So like 3 from Tectonic Plating, 3 from the Buckler, 6, 2 from the Crown, 7, 8, 2 from the Crater Fist, 9, 10, plus 1 from the Boots is 11.
Yeah, that's just mad, isn't it? That's ridiculous damage prevention on board. But that's what I mean. If you, as a Bravo, if you want to chuck in all of that equipment, you can block for 9 and then still have blocks on board afterwards because of the temper, which is just madness against Rangers that want to hit you.
Yeah. Compared to Azalea, who has 1 block
4
from Hat, 1 block from Tunic, and 2 block from Boots, if you're running those boots and not running Snapdragons. And then your gloves are, nothing. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, wet napkin.
Literally a wet napkin, but
yeah.
It was really good, and obviously Jonas was the one who won, and he opened up a Null Rune Robe gold foil for the last gold foil, which I think gold foils are still worth quite a bit, aren't they? Even if they're a common, they're still worth quite a bit. Of money.
Let me think. Is certain Null Rune are like really good, like really valuable. I'm not sure if the chest is though. The boots might be. One of them is one that people tend to run a lot as like our AB pieces. Chess might be a decent one. I don't remember.
Yeah. But it was really good day. Had some really cool matchups to commentate over, and it was a really cool day. So I'm glad I did it. Thanks to Heiner and the team, and be up for doing it again if you're listening to this. I know there's German listeners. Maybe you're one of them. I don't know. But yeah, great fun. Really enjoyed it. Just a very, very tiring day, as you said earlier. It's not really physical fatigue. It's more like mental fatigue. You know you're getting tired, but you don't really notice it until, well, you do notice it, but it hits you really hard afterwards once all the adrenaline's worn off.
Yeah, I mean, like you're just like staring at a screen, focusing for many, many hours on end, and then like sometimes like you don't get lunch. till like late, like at least for me. Sometimes I'd get like late lunch because like I'd be doing a match that was like long. Pardon me. And then you'd be doing a match that's long, and then you have another match coming up. And normally when we would do it with 3 people, you'd be 2 on, 1 off. So you do 2 matches in a row, then you'd have 1 match not in the booth.
Yeah.
But then you'd still be doing something else. But a lot of the times I got stuck with like 2 on when it was like lunchtime. So I would get my lunch like an hour or an hour and a half later than everyone else, and it was just like cold, just sitting to the side.
No.
I'm just like, give me my lunch. I'm just like,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, that was my week in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, no, that is the episode. Well, we have more things to talk about, but
oh, we do, yeah. So yeah, what was you going to mention about specializations? Wasn't it the other?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about the new Briar Specialization. So we had a Briar Specialization spoiled. We only had 1 spoiler. I thought there would be more, but it was just 1. It was just Anthem of Spring, which is a Earth Action Briar Specialization, blue pitch, 0 cost, block 2. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +1. Then Anthem of Spring has go again. And then it also has the Unity mechanic, which is when this defends together with a card from hand, that you create an embodiment of Earth token under any number of heroes' control. And if you remember, the Earth token is the one that pumps up non-attacks that block by 1, like +1. First of all, what do you guys think of this card? I'm not sure how I evaluate it, and it's also really funny that the Anthem of Spring Briar Specialization got spoiled like on the eve of Briar hitting Living Legend in Classic Constructed, which is just kind of funny.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 0 cost +1 with go again, but it's a blue pitch. Like, what do you guys think of this card? I'm not sure.
I think this card's insane.
Okay.
It's a blue Earth card, so it can just pay for Channel Mount Heroic on its own.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a 0 cost non-attack action with go again that does it, like it buffs by 1, but it could literally do nothing and still be fine. And then the block effect, if you block with it and another non-attack that has 3 block, you're actually blocking for 7 because the Unity effect triggers before damage is dealt. So the Embodiment of Earth token comes into play and immediately buffs both of your blocking cards. So it's like just an insane defensive option. It's kind of like you have to draw it, but it's kind of like a Carrion Husk. And it just does everything else that you want it to do. Like, playing it is pretty medium, but it pitches and blocks insanely well.
I was gonna say, like, it's funny that like this is like such a tepid effect, but like I believe you when you say that it's really, really good, because like that's how you know Briar is inherently disgusting. That this card
doesn't even need to have text.
Yeah, like the card is like, man, +1, who cares? But like the fact that it's a non-attack Earth blue pitch, right? Like, yeah. Just fuels your Channel Mount Chungus. And
Channel my Chungus.
Yeah, and like Bill said, it has go again, non-attack with go again. So it turns on your Chungus Thorn.
Yeah. What did you say? So what did you say about blocking for 7? I don't understand the maths there.
It blocked for
if you block with it has 2 block, and then if you block with another non-attack that has 3, like a Bramble Spark or something. If you block with both of those, then Unity will trigger and give you an Embodiment of Earth, which immediately pumps both of the cards that you're blocking with by 1, assuming they're non-attack actions. So it would bump itself to 3, and then the Bramble Spark to 4. So it like blocks for 7.
Okay, yeah. So it can smooth out some defensive turns as well then, and it can, if you've got an Embodiment of Earth from a previous attack that hit, you could then play this and then have 2 out.
Yeah, and then you'd be blocking for 9 with 2 cards.
Then you can pretend like you're old Briar, and you have a whole bunch of them.
Tank Briar.
Exactly.
Earth Briar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So like I was saying, it's it's a really good defensive option. It's also just another blue earth pitch, which Briar loves, because right now I think you play like So Tomorrow, which you never cast that card. You just use it to pay for Channel Mount Heroic. So you can just replace So Tomorrow with this card, and it's better in some situations because it is also a buff spell, and it also has this block mechanic as well. I think
of course, because obviously Channel Mount cares about Earth cards, so this just replaces the other ones that just aren't. You never use them, like you said, like Autumn's Touch or whatever.
There's no reason to ever play there's a reason to play it in your deck. There's never a reason to actually like cast So Tomorrow. Card just doesn't do anything. But this one you can at least play it if you need it to be your non-attack action for the turn. So it just has that additional flexibility.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's funny that they showed this off and Briar's pretty close to hitting Living Legend, which is like
basically on the way out.
Here's a new Briar card. You can't play with it though. You can, CC. You can play it in CC. I mean, in Blitz, not CC.
In Blitz, yeah.
And UPF. You can play in UPF too. You can give the next player or the previous player embodiment of Earth so they can block the other person better. Which is kind of cool, actually.
I think that's pretty good.
So what I think is super interesting about this card, other than like it being good in Briar, because like is that it is a Briar specialization in Dusk Till Dawn, and a lot of people were assuming that the only specializations we were getting are heroes that, I mean, I guess we saw the Bravo as well, but before that we had like the Dorinthia and the Prism, but it definitely looks like we're getting a lot of different heroes here, not just Solanian heroes. And then as asked earlier, like, do we think that each hero is going to get a specialization? And I think maybe. I think yes, but not all of them. I think all of like the main line story heroes. So I think Oldham will get one. I think Lexi will get one. I think and so those are like the good guy characters, and I think the bad guy characters will also quote bad guy characters. Might not actually be bad, whatever. We'll talk. That's a discussion for a later story. But I think like Levia will get one. I think Vincent, obviously, maybe even it'd be funny if they give Chain one, like a post-mortem specialization. But I think like Viscerai will get one. I think the Monastery heroes will get one. My spicy call is they will have a different mechanic. They will not have Unity. My call is Unity is only for the good characters, and then the bad characters will have a different mechanic. That's my
very interesting.
That's my suspicion. I think the Monastery will have their own thing, and then those fighting for soul will have theirs. And then my crazy headcanon. That one is like an educated guess. What I'm about to say now is just tinfoil hat. And that is, I want the assassins to show up in the set. I want the spider to show up because, quote, I mean, like, this is just once again headcanon, that the monastery or someone has hired them to assassinate, like, the Solanian High Council. And maybe that's why Prism is, like, sitting there on the throne, right? If the council's dead, then there needs to be a ruler, right? So that's my thing, and then the assassins would be on the side of the monastery. So the assassin specializations would have the monastery specialization, and that's how you get more monastery characters in, or characters that are on the side of the monastery. Because currently there's a lot of heroes fighting on the side of Solana, and there's not a lot of heroes fighting on the side of the monastery, right? It's just it's just the rune blades, except for Briar, and Levia. So I was like, okay, to support my own crackpot theory, I need to create another crackpot theory. This is how you know it's truly crackpot. And to do so, I'm like, okay, then we need more monastery heroes to make this work. And I was like, okay, get the assassins on in there, like get the heroes from the pits, right? So you can recruit like Arachne and Riptide. It doesn't have to necessarily be assassins. But yeah,
that's the thing as well, because Brian told us that surgical extraction is going to be not necessarily Brian himself, but we know that surgical extraction is going to be in there, so there's going to be assassin cards in there, so that makes sense as well to a certain extent.
Yeah, well, surgical is a special case. They put that in there because it was short printed on accident, so it's like it might have just been like a one-off only assassin thing, but it looks like this is going to be a set where we get support, at least a little bit of support for everyone. What I suspect is we will not get the young hero only like specs. So I don't think we're going to get a Volda. I don't think we're going to get a Cavdane or Genus or Datadol or Kasai. I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get like the main story heroes, because this is like a story set. Who knows? We might get like, I don't know, 20 or 30 specializations in the set. Here's your another Benji and here's another Datadol one. I don't know, but
yeah, because that was a strange situation, wasn't it? Because a lot of the young heroes got specializations last time.
Yeah.
Whereas this time it's all CC and both essentially.
Yeah, but these are like the story heroes. These are the heroes that, so far at least, are the ones that are like prominent in the lore, which I really hope they expand upon and like really go deep into it, because this seems like a very lore focused set. Because you're like, why is, people need to know the story of like why Briar and Bravo and Lexi and Oldham are like here fighting along the side, Dorinthia and Bolton and stuff. And I suspect we'll see it in Bolton specialization. I'm really excited for Lexi specialization, by the way, because she's one of the heroes that doesn't have very many. She has Lighted Up, which is cool. It's a good card. But would give us more, please. Yeah.
But it's
I do have
interesting
a
as well
soft spot
because
for Lighted Up. I think that card's really cool.
It's sick.
yeah.
I have a full play set of foil ones. They're really cool. It's too bad I don't use them at all.
Yeah.
I used to run them in my no fuse because I ran a couple lightning cards, because I ran Electrify and Lightning Press. But Outsiders came out. There's too many good stuff to run that. It's cute, but we have codices now. Codices. We have codices now.
Yeah.
It's interesting the art on all these cards as well. Like literally, even in Briar's one, they're all fighting hordes of enemies, so that they are definitely all on the same team, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. Like
I'm
like pretty sure they're all depicting them in battle against the demonastery forces, and that's why they have the unity mechanic, because they're like fighting alongside each other in unison. And that's also why I think, like I said, it's an educated guess, why the demonastery will have a different mechanic. Could also still have unity for the same reasons, but I think them having a different mechanic would also make sense.
So is this set James White's response to my question of will we see all the heroes come together to fight? Hold my beer, he said.
Well, this one is the second in the Monarch trilogy, so
that's true. Yes,
I imagine we'll see like an even bigger one with the third Monarch set, where you'll get like
everyone's allied together.
Yeah, well, like Reinar is just randomly there, and then like there's like Phi and Dromide. They're I think everyone will be. I think this one is like still a little more personal. This is like fighting the monastery at Solana, and then maybe they deal with the monastery, and then maybe the third one is more of a global or rather continental thing, right?
Yeah,
where it's like everyone has to fight because the real big ones are coming down. I think that one is when they're going to be fighting the Aesir, the old ones. Whereas this one, they're still fighting like the monastery. I think the third one, they'll be fighting like the big boys.
Similar to what we've said. Similar to what we've said before, where we've got regions of Wraith fighting each other, and then like similar to Civil War, and then we go to galactic level where we have to fight the bloody entities, and everyone has to band together.
Yeah, and I think everyone will be on the same side for the most part for that one.
Yeah,
because like. Except for maybe like Prism and Solana and stuff, because they're the ones who are like worshipping an Aesir. It's just soul. But yeah, no, that's interesting. That's my guess for the specializations. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The fact that we got a Shiana one is also quite interesting. But once again, I think
because we just said that do we expect young heroes?
Well, that's why I said story relevant heroes, not specifically not young.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be relevant to the Solana story, and Shiana definitely is. But like heroes like Fi and Dromai and Kasai, they're in like Volcor, and they're just doing Volcor stuff. And then like Reinar is like doing Reinar stuff in the Savage Lands. Like, so I don't think we'll see him. I don't think we'll see Benji or Katsu unless they just like happen to cross through Solana on their way back from the pits or something. I don't know. Or like, I don't think we'll see like Dash, because like, why would Dash be here? But then I was trying to.
It's just like this is all like all of these other heroes that we've already seen. But then what happens to the rest of them that aren't left that are left out of this set that aren't there? Then because obviously we got like you said, the ninjas, Dromai and stuff. Do we see them in Mysteria if we go to Mysteria or
Probably.
Savage Lands?
Probably.
We go to there?
Probably. Everyone thinks the next set's going to be Savage Lands because of the card back thing.
The card back thing. Yeah.
We'll see. My guess was actually Mysteria, but if the card back thing is correct, then it's Savage Lands then Mysteria. So I mean, like I can kind of see that. But I feel you, mech players who are just like, please give us another hero. Jesus Christ, we need another hero. They literally have one CC hero.
I was going through some cards that I think I'm going to get rid of today, and I was like, I have this huge stack of just duplicates, like over and above my playsets of mechanologist stuff. I was like, I'm not doing anything with it. I should just get rid of it. And then I'm like, I feel like they're going to print more mechanologists, like real, actual mechanologist stuff soon.
Yeah.
It just feels inevitable. I don't know. Maybe that's copium, but
didn't you have like 79 techno cores or something that you?
I think I have 5 Techlo cores and like 9 extra high octanes.
69.9.
69 galvanic benders.
If the back of the card theory is correct, it's Savage Lands, Mysteria, and then Metrics. But the thing is that back of the card theory does not account for other supplemental sets. Like it didn't account for, well, it kind of did, but like it doesn't account because it starts with, let me think, where does it start? It starts with Volcor, basically, or Aria. It starts with Aria, and then it has Volcor, Pits, what people think is Solana, and then Savage Lands, Mysteria, and then Metrics. And I was gonna say it doesn't count for Everfest, but I guess you could just say Everfest part of Aria, and same is true for Dynasty, it's just part of Uprising. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what they're doing, because it's how do I want to put this? It's very interesting if this is true and they just lucked into Prism and Chain hitting Living Legend first, and therefore getting reprints exactly when they planned on this set to be. I don't know. It just seems a little coincidental, unless tinfoil hat, they made those characters strong on purpose with the intent of having them hit Living Legend first.
We're just playing right into their hands.
Yeah. James White, you've done it again.
And little did they know that Starvo would be so good, because on Starstruck he's wearing the Starvo armor. So maybe they thought this entire time that Starvo would be in the meta, or actually a playable hero.
He's probably fine, right?
I think
he's all right.
I've never read that card.
I legit think that's just I could call him Starvo. I think that's just Bravo's new look. Because in the lore they were going to Everfest, and by they I mean Lexi, Briar, and Oldham, they were going to Everfest to get like information on blah 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 blah. And then like, who's at Everfest? Bravo. Or he's like, oh, I'm Bravo. Look at me. I'm the star of the show. I'm completely busted. I'm gonna ruin all of your LGS metagames for the next 6 months. And then they're like, oh, cool. Join us, meta ruiner. And they're like, he's like, okay, cool. And then they're like, going to Solana.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, do you guys mind if I'm still wearing the same outfit? And they're like, no, you don't get a change. You have to wear that big old pauldron. And he's like, fine. It protects my shoulder a little bit. No, fine.
Oh,
And,
brilliant.
yeah.
Do you remember when everyone thought Arachne was Starvo in disguise?
By everyone, you mean insane people. Actually insane people. I also saw
Anyway.
like people were like, you know, they're like, oh, it's like 2 characters, like one, and then another character's head is like the shoulder or something.
Yeah, it's like bloody Quasimodo off of Total Recall.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know.
Well,
the Dust Till Dawn spoiler news and stuff has been pretty slow this week. I did get. Some people saw my tweet. Steven made a video about it, but I did get these Dust Till Dawn promos. I got the Luminaris Celestial Fury and then the Flail of Agoni, as well as the sleeves that came with them, the sleeves. These are really nice sleeves. They're the same as usual, the same as the normal Flesh and Blood sleeves. But what's really cool about these, if you did not see my Twitter post, my social media post about it, or Steven's video about them, but these promos, they come inside the boxes of sleeves. It's not like an additional thing that the retailer gives to you. They are literally shrink wrapped inside of the box. So if you have a box that has a sticker on it that's like promo inside, if you have a box that says promo inside, there's a promo inside. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice little inclusion.
Yeah, and self promotion here. I have a promo code with or an affiliate link with Dragon Shield because they're one of the supporters of my channel, Red Zone Rogue. And if you would like to, maybe use my link and buy some of these, I would appreciate that. I get a tiny kickback from that.
I've got a nice little one here as well. Nice little Azalea one that Jim from FAB TCG Guard gave me, which is also a Dragon Shield sleeve. So there's a bit of promotion for you.
Hell yeah, they're great. Dragon Shield's great. It's one of the supporters. When they reached out to me, they were like, hey, we'd like to partner with you to do Flesh and Blood content and stuff and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yes. Like that was one of the things I didn't even need to think about because I literally already used Dragon Shield sleeves for all of my things. And so when they approached me, I was like, yes, please.
Absolutely.
So, and I think putting the promos in the sleeve boxes is like brilliant. By the way, I think it's just super smart. It makes it so that you'll get the promo if you buy the thing. You don't have to. I know it can be really fiddly sometimes trying to get promos from your LGS. Like maybe the LGS doesn't have them, or maybe they conveniently don't have them. Depending on the integrity of your LGS, and the fact that you just get it in the box is really cool. It means the promos probably won't be worth a lot of money, but they're cool and foily. So there's that. Buy 2 boxes of sleeves of the Vincent one, so you can have two of the flails.
Absolutely, double flails going on.
It was a one-hander. But
yeah. Well, that is pretty much it for today. This week's podcast has been a lot of rambling from me about the Flesh and Blood week that I've had, which has been fantastic. So again, thanks for the opportunity. It's been good fun. But Dust Till Dawn's right around the corner now, and I'm still waiting for the email because Alex told me that if I did a shoey out of the thing, I would be able to have it.
If it makes you feel better, I don't think anyone's gotten an email yet. So
no, not yet.
Yeah,
I definitely have not.
I've been checking very frequently, and we haven't gotten an email yet. So
let me.
God damn.
And pull up my email and refresh. Did I get an email while we're talking? Let me see. And
can you confirm no?
No.
Can confirm. No. But
Sad. Well, when they gave me Uzuri, I think I got my email a little bit earlier because they're like, "We're giving you the main character of the set. There you go." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet."
I'm gonna need some prep time.
Yeah, but that's actually coming up pretty soon, right? When does spoiler season start? Like on the 20th or something? Like it's like soonish, right? I want to say
29th, isn't it?
29th?
29th to 31st.
Okay, good. But that's still not a lot of time. Like it's a couple weeks.
Is it actually, no, it can't be. Is it June, is it?
It's June. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
We should. People who are getting spoilers should be getting emails soon. I think. I would say. I would guess within the next week or two, like for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. But we'll
and then you'll see all the cryptic messages on Twitter of all of the content creators posting like screenshots of like the email, title and all that kind of stuff. They're like, "Oh, I got a thing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you just wait and see. Me and Jim are going to do a whole teaser thing about what we've got, like we did last time.
Nice. Just make it into like a chronicle.
Just pure trolling. Just making it an ongoing story now going forward. It's just going to be all sorts of different situations that Jim rings me that I'm in at the time.
Nice.
When I get the phone call, I'm just going to be doing all sorts of different things.
One of them is like you're in the bath. Another one you're like in a hole in the ground, like you're digging a ditch.
Literally.
And you're like up to here, up to your nose.
Oh, there's gonna be some funny ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I'm just thinking about it now. You're like, Jim's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You're like, oh, nothing, just digging a hole." And there's like what looks like a dead body or something, like wrapped up. And you're like, "Yeah, just digging a hole."
Just digging a hole.
Same thing I do every Thursday. No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right around the corner. So stay tuned. I'm sure you're going to start hearing or seeing some stuff soon, whether that's on the next podcast or on Twitter, on the socials or whatever, which you can find us. I'm going to say you can find me at Go Again Gaming AZ on Twitter and Go Again Gaming on YouTube. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And the Azalea Cult episode came out recently, so that's always good. And obviously the VOD of the event is that we spoke about today is on there as well. But I didn't know that YouTube caps videos at 12 hours. So the final of the tournament was lost, unfortunately.
I didn't know that either.
And the giveaway the giveaway proof was also lost.
Oh. Well,
so everybody in the stream will know what their names are, and I've made a note, of course. But obviously, the video didn't record. It's not on there. Nobody can see it. But I've got the list, so it's all good.
Well,
but it is annoying,
note to self: if I ever plan on making a 13-hour stream,
Yeah. So, but yeah, just a tip as well before I hand it over to lovely co-host here. If you are going to restream an event, and if we do one again at some stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the stream after the Swiss rounds, and then just create a new stream link for the top 8, and then just tell people to go and check out the new stream that I've just done, and then they'll go over there. And
that's really smart, actually, because then that also keeps the top 8 separate from like the Swiss rounds. And I know a lot of people specifically want to watch the top 8, so doing that will probably get your video more views like after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I'll throw it over to Bill next.
Hello. I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on Twitter at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at the Spike Feeders FAB. For those of you who are interested in Magic the Gathering content, I don't know when they're going to be coming out, but I did just film 2 games of me playing Commander that are going to be going up on our main YouTube channel. So
nice.
If you haven't heard of our Magic the Gathering stuff, or if you are interested in that, I will be featuring on there relatively soon. I don't know quite how long these ones or how far out these ones will be, but yeah. Definitely go check it out if that's something that interests you.
I look forward for the inevitable time where Az and I visit you, and then there's an episode of the Spike Feeders where it's a bunch of people that no one's ever heard of before. It's just me, Az, Bill, and then like I don't know, maybe Jim, your brother. He's the only one that anyone like recognizes, except for maybe.
Be so sick.
And they're like, "Who the hell are these other random jack-offs?"
Be very funny.
It would be funny.
Yeah.
Is that what your shoulder deck as well? Is it that one?
Yeah. So I have this. I pulled a Shieldred the Apocalypse, the highest rarity version out of like 2 packs when I was in Minneapolis, and I decided instead of selling it for Flesh and Blood cards to just make a commander deck out of it. It was really fun. I got to play some cool black cards. So
awesome.
Nice.
That goes into what we were speaking about last week about burnout and stuff. It's just playing other games and playing different things. So that's good. To know
just doing other stuff, diversifying your portfolio, as it were.
Yeah.
Give
you some mental respite from all of the flesh and blooding that goes on.
I did actually see a magic card from the Lord of the Rings set that I want to build a deck around as well. To be fair, and that's the bloody Shelob.
You want like a spider deck?
Yeah.
Give them all death touch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to run a Ishkanar deck, which was the other black and green Golgari spider.
Widow.
Yeah, that's it from Shadows over Innistrad, I think it was.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't wait to build that. It's going to be a refreshing journey.
On my, I guess my final note is like I initially so. The Lord of the Rings was announced, and I think I was just getting out of Flesh and Blood, and I was like, okay, that's too bad, because I love Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, not just of the movies, but of the novels.
Yeah.
I've read the Silmarillion. I know my Tolkien lore a little bit. I can hang. I have several like Lord of the Rings shirts, but as though that helps dictate your fandom. But anyway, I was like, I'm just gonna skip it, I don't really buy new Magic stuff, but I've been kind of like sort of getting back into playing Magic a little bit here and there, just like Commander with friends and some other stuff. And I've been seeing the Lord of the Rings stuff pop up on my Twitter feed, mostly because I still follow some friends who are into Magic, the Professor, Pleasant Kenobi, and they tweet about it a lot. And then artists, like artist friends, like specifically like Livia Prima, who is a great artist that I've met, and she does work for Magic as well as Flesh and Blood. And she did one of the cool panoramas for the Middle Earth set, and she did the Bilbo's party one. And I was just like, these look cool. Like they're so expensive. Like there's no way in hell I'm buying a collector booster box of this thing. But I'm like, Forge and Fire is a sponsor of mine, and they're selling the Commander decks for like 120 or 130 bucks for all of them. And then like they're also selling like a set box for like also kind of cheap for like 120 or whatever. And I'm just like, I have some credit. I think I'm just gonna buy the Commander decks at least, and maybe the set box. And use my own promo code. By the way, you can use my promo code down below. Hi, my name is Red Zone Rogue, and you can find me at youtube.com/RedZoneRogue. I have promo codes with great online card retailers like Forge and Fire. They sell Flesh and Blood, so you can pre-order your Dusk Till Dawn when it comes out. I don't think they have pre-orders up yet, or otherwise I would have posted about it. But they do have orders for the Tales of Middle Earth, and they have really good pricing. Such good pricing that their stuff typically sells out pretty quick. I may have bought the Commander decks from them. And what I'm buying them for is kind of like how I bought the Warhammer Commander decks. I'm just going to sleeve them up and then put them into a box together. And they're just going to be my Lord of the Rings like game box. Like we can just play with like Lord of the Rings cards or whatever in a game that's not as obtuse as Middle Earth CCG, which I have. I have some sealed Middle Earth CCG right there. Look at that. Look at that first edition. First edition sealed Middle Earth CCG. Lovely game. Absolutely love it, but it's a little obtuse and it's tricky to get people into. But Magic, people know Magic. You can, like, you want to play with the Hobbit deck? You want to play with the Sauron deck? Whatever. Have at it.
Is that Middle Earth CCG, the one with the screen caps on it from the film?
No, that one is the Lord of the Rings TCG. Also, I have that as well. That's in the closet though.
Okay.
I did a big video on that. I did a big video on that back when that game was dirt cheap. I could buy booster boxes for $15 to $20, and I did, and I bought a ton of it. And then 2020 happened, and every collectible shot up, and now those boxes are like $100 to $200. Same with the Middle Earth game. The Middle Earth game, this is the last thing I'll talk about before we leave. The Middle Earth game was made by, I want to say it was made by Richard Garfield. Maybe I'm thinking of something. No, maybe I'm thinking of something else. No, I'm thinking of Vampire the Masquerade. But it is printed by Cardamundi, so it has the same card stock as Old Magic, and it has a lot of old Magic artists too. So like Liz Danforth, for example, is one of my favorite old school fantasy artists. She does incredible work, and the art in Middle Earth CCG is gorgeous. I'm a huge fan of different interpretations of Tolkien art, like Tolkien lore and art, which is actually why I think the new Magic the Gathering set is pretty cool, because it has non-Peter Jackson interpretations of the characters, which I personally think is super cool, because I like the Peter Jackson stuff, but when I read the books when I was a kid, that's not exactly what I pictured. So it's like seeing the different interpretations of it, I think is really cool. So I like seeing all the new characters and stuff.
That's the thing about film, isn't it? You're forced to see a certain thing a certain way, whereas with literature, you can imagine it the way you want to imagine it, which is just the books are so good for that.
I mean, especially with the Lord of the Rings films, which are like so enrooted in like pop culture these days. Like they are such like landmark classics. They are like modern classics. They're such great films. So it's hard to escape from that. And so anytime I see a Lord of the Rings thing that is not, Peter Jackson looking characters, I'm like, this is super cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I dig it. So yeah, I went from completely ignoring the Lord of the Rings set to I'm gonna buy the Commander decks.
I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna build a giant spider deck. I can't wait.
I don't know if I'm gonna build any decks or anything, but
I had to Google like just the last thing we're gonna say about this Magic tangent.
Okay. Yeah.
Is the prefix that the Shelob was given. It was like Shelob, child of Ungoliath. I was like, what the hell is Ungoliath?
It's it's Ungoliant.
That's it. Ungoliant. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not have a clue what that was, and I searched it. I was like, holy hell! It's a giant spider god.
It's more than giant. It's like it was like Melkor's like I don't know companion, I guess is the best way to put it. It's
I saw this epic picture of like Ungoliant fighting multiple Balrogs of Morgoth. I was like, bloody hell, this thing's massive. And it was just like, bloody hell, that just literally blew my sense of scale out of the water, because I always thought Lord of the Rings was just like armies fighting, not just entities.
Just wait until you find out that Gandalf is basically an angel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tolkien leaned heavily into like both like Norse mythology and also like Christian lore and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of like Christian undertones in Lord of the Rings, even though I'm not a religious person. It's really interesting to see like the parallels, because he also used a lot of Norse mythology. Literally, some of the names that he uses are ripped straight. He like literally plagiarizes like sagas. Like Thorin Oakenshield is literally the exact name of a character in Norse sagas. The Thorin Oakenshield, the whole name. He didn't like make up part of it. Like he just like almost all the dwarf names, like he just ripped off from like Old Norse and Old English. Yeah. But you know, it's fun.
I don't even know it went that deep, but that's something I went into.
The wizards aren't human. Like that's the first thing. Like when I was a kid, when I found that out, I'm like, oh, that kind of bummed me out. And then I was like, I guess it's cool.
It makes sense.
They're not human. That's why in the movie, like when Gandalf like dies, and then he's like, oh, I was like lost in space and time, and then they sent me back. They literally sent him back. Like he went back to like the heaven area, and then they sent him back. So like, yeah, Gandalf's kind of like an angel, basically. Yeah. So same with like Saruman. He's just like a dick angel. And then like the Blue Wizards and Radagast is just like a stoner angel. Anyway, anyway, Lord of the Rings stuff.
Absolutely.
And then like once again, it very much follows like Christian lore, where like Sauron and Melkor, like Melkor, by the way. So Melkor was one of like the big gods, and he was like the most beautiful and the smartest, and then he's like, I'm better than all you, and then they're like, no, you suck, and they cast him down, just like in Christian lore, Satan and it's very similar.
Nice.
So
fantastic.
Anyway,
well, a bit of Lord of the Rings deep lore for you at the end of that podcast. If you stay to the end, type in Ungoliant in the comments below.
Type Ungoliant. Or
Ungoliant.
Praise Melkor.
Praise Melkor. Praise be. Praise be our supreme Melkor.
And Lord of the Rings fans, I was paraphrasing. Okay. I don't want to spend like 2 hours talking about it. All right.
No.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I know.
Thanks very much for everybody's tuned in now or in the future. This has been the Living Legends podcast. I've been your host, and as always, have a great day wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
See you around, everybody.
Bye.